Hi, and welcome to Notes from the Field, the Garden Continuum's video blog. I'm Monique Allen, and today I'm going to show you how to deadhead 3 common spring flowering bulbs. Spring flowering bulbs are one of my favorite elements in the garden. The color show is unparalleled. They're definitely wow factor plants. The flip side is that those big, beautiful blossoms eventually fade away and become crinkled brown masses of wilted petals. Definitely not attractive. This is what most gardeners don't like about these plants, but if you invest a little time in deadheading, the look will be cleaned up in no time. The Narcissus family of bulbs also includes daffodils, like this bright yellow Carlton. It also includes some cool double flowering selections, like this fragrant multi-flowering narcissus called Sir Winston Churchill. After flowering, the foliage and flower stalks stand upright with the brown spent flowers on top. If you don't deadhead the plant, it'll form seed pods in place of the flowers. This steals precious energy from the bulb, so you want to remove these spent flower parts before the seed pods form. The fast way to do this is to remove those spent flower tops by simply pinching off the top with your thumb and your forefinger. You can quickly go through a stand of bulbs for a speedy cleanup. If that cut feels too sloppy for you, use scissors or small pruners to neatly snip off those tops. Another method, which takes a little more time, is to remove the entire flower stalk right at the base of the plant. Keep that foliage intact so that these leaves can continue to store food for the bulb's next year's flowers. This method leaves a very neat finish. Tulips are the next common spring flowering bulb. There are many different types, from the tall cottage and Darwin tulips to the wonderful double flowering selections and the mini botanical species. After the flowers fade, the foliage is pretty ugly. Tulips also create seed pods if you don't deadhead them. As with daffodils, you want to leave some of the foliage behind. In the case of tulips, I just cut far enough down the stalk so I can leave the bottom 2 leaves intact to do the work of photosynthesis as long as possible. If the stalk and the leaves have faded, then you'll remove all of the foliage. Grab hold of the entire stalk and the leaves, give it a swift twist and tug, and it'll pop right out of the ground. If it doesn't, then the foliage hasn't died back enough, and you'll need to cut back those stalks. As you can see, it's a very quick cleanup. Next up are these beautiful fluffy hyacinths. Like other bulbs, if you leave that flower stalk up, they'll try to make seeds. For hyacinths, you'll simply cut back those stalks to the base and clean up any brown leaves, and voila, nice and neat. This is that bed of Sir Winston Churchill narcissus mixed with lady fern. When they first came up, the ferns were still asleep and barely showing any foliage. Then the narcissus bloomed, and as they faded, the ferns leaped to life. So with those faded flowers, I wanted to see a cleaner presentation, so decided that I would deadhead all those clumps of bulbs, taking those stalks right down to the base. A quick tip is to have a good-sized bucket right at your hands so that you can throw those bulb stalks away. And be sure to use sharp scissors or a small pair of sharp pruning shears. And there you have it, a nicely cleaned up stand of bulbs. The foliage is totally intact and able to continue photosynthesis to produce food. This is a look at the same area a month later after I cut back the stalks. You can see the bulb foliage is still pretty green, but it's starting to fade. The ferns have grown up to their full height now, so you hardly even notice that bulb foliage hanging around. Once they've fully flopped and yellowed, you can go back and cut that foliage right down. I hope this bulb care information was helpful. Please leave comments and questions below. For more information, you can read the blog post that goes along with this video, which can be found at our website. Thanks for watching and happy gardening.